I said my ex would be proud of our baby. My husband went silent. Then he dialed the clinic. I knew something was wrong the moment his smile froze. One careless sentence, one stupid joke. That's all it took to set everything burning. We were in the living room, dim evening light bleeding through the curtains, the baby sleeping in his crib beside us. I was exhausted, half laughing, half delirious when I said it. God, my ex would be proud of how cute he turned out. A passing comment, a slip, something meant as nothing. But Daniel, my husband, did not laugh. He didn't even blink. His breath stopped. His fingers curled around his phone as if his muscles had turned to stone. The room went quiet in a way I had never heard before, like sound itself was afraid to move. Then, without looking at me, he dialed the clinic. My heart slammed against my ribs. "What are you doing?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He only said into the phone, coldly, "I need to schedule a paternity consultation as soon as possible." My stomach dropped. The baby whimpered in his sleep, and I realized, too late, that the joke wasn't just a joke. Not to him. Not after all the little cracks he'd been noticing. Not after the nights I pretended to sleep, hoping the truth wouldn't follow me home. He hung up slowly, looked at me. Not angry, not hurt, just empty. "Pack a bag," he said quietly. "We're going tomorrow." My blood turned to ice. That was when I knew the life I had been building, lying, patching together with trembling hands, was about to come undone. I didn't respond. Couldn't. All I could hear was my heartbeat pounding, frantic, guilty, because the truth was, my husband wasn't crazy. He wasn't paranoid. He was right to doubt. I could lie to myself, but I couldn't lie to my body. I remembered every wrong choice, every weak moment, every time I told myself, it was just one night, it doesn't mean anything. But reality has a way of waiting in the dark. Patient, sharp, hungry. Daniel began collecting the baby's things with controlled movements, calm, precise, mechanical. He didn't look at me again. I kept seeing flashes of the past, the messages I never deleted, the man I swore I'd never speak to again. The night everything blurred. Alcohol, anger, loneliness, closure that turned into something else. I told myself the baby looked like Daniel. I forced myself to believe it, but his eyes. God, those eyes. Sometimes in the morning light, I saw my ex in them. I saw the truth. I tried to speak. "Daniel, it was just a joke." His jaw tightened, but his voice stayed level. "Do you know what I hate more than betrayal? A beat. Mockery." He walked past me, holding the baby with a gentleness that broke me inside. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't accuse me. And the calmness was terrifying, because anger is loud. But disappointment? Disappointment is silent and lethal. The rest of the night he moved around me like I wasn't even there. No yelling, no questions, just silence. A silence that swallowed everything I used to be. And in that silence, I began to realize how badly I had underestimated him. The next morning, we drove to the clinic. The world outside the car window felt unreal, blurred, weightless. Inside, the tension was so thick I could barely breathe. He didn't speak, didn't touch me, didn't look at me, but he looked at the baby. God, he looked at him, as if memorizing him, as if preparing to let go. My fingers dug into my palms as I watched the side of his face. His expression was unreadable, too calm, too still. The storm wasn't outside, it was in him, and I was the one who lit it. At the clinic, he handled everything: forms, signatures, scheduling. He answered every question with the same cold, precise tone, like he was discussing a business contract, not the future of our family. When the nurse asked if he was sure he wanted to proceed, he simply said, "Yes." No hesitation. I felt myself shrinking, becoming smaller with every passing second, because while he was composed, I was unraveling. In the waiting room, he finally spoke. "You know," he said without turning his head, "trust breaks quietly. People think it shatters loudly, but no, it dies in silence." I swallowed hard. I didn't answer. He wasn't expecting me to. He continued, voice controlled, emotionless. "I've noticed things, tiny things, little inconsistencies, but I told myself I was imagining it because I wanted to believe you." A pause. "And last night, that joke?" His jaw tightened. "It wasn't a joke, not to you." His eyes finally met mine. "Was it?" My throat closed. Because there it was, the question I had feared. The one I didn't know how to answer without breaking him completely. I whispered, "Daniel, please." He didn't respond. He didn't flinch. He just stood when the nurse called his name and walked in, carrying the baby. I stayed behind, alone, empty, and terrified. Because the truth wasn't coming. It was already here. The results arrived 3 days later. 3 days of suffocating silence. 3 days of pretending nothing was happening. 3 days of watching him observe me like a stranger he was studying. When the email came, he didn't open it right away. He called me into the kitchen, laid his phone on the table, and slid it toward me. "You open it." My fingers trembled as I tapped the screen. The page loaded slowly, too slowly. Then the world fell apart in a single line. Probability of paternity, 0.0%. I didn't breathe, couldn't breathe. Daniel exhaled once, softly, not surprised, not hurt, just confirmed. He leaned back in his chair, hands clasped loosely, eyes on me. "Who is the father?" I felt my knees weaken. But he didn't raise his voice, didn't stand, didn't move. "I'll ask again," he said quietly. "Who is the father?" I whispered the name. He closed his eyes for a long moment. Then he opened them, clear, sharp, no anger left, only finality. "I suspected," he said, "but hearing it confirms everything else too." What else?" I whispered. He tilted his head, studying me. "How long you've been lying to me. How little respect you had left. How much you relied on my trust to hide behind." Every word was a knife, but he spoke them with terrifying calm. Then he did something that shattered me completely. He stood, walked to the crib, and kissed the baby gently on the forehead. "None of this is his fault," he murmured. "He deserves better than being born into a lie." His voice didn't break. Mine did. "Daniel, please." He turned toward me slowly. "No, you don't get to plead now." His eyes were cold glass. "But you do get to watch what honesty feels like." He didn't yell. He didn't curse. He didn't throw anything or threaten to leave. That would have been merciful. Instead, he executed the coldest, most calculated revenge I had ever seen. "You will stay here," he said. "You will care for your child, and you will think about every choice that led you here." "What about us?" I whispered. He almost smiled. Broken, bitter, deadly calm. "There is no us, not anymore." He picked up his suitcase. "My attorney will contact you. I've already filed." My blood went cold. Filed? When? He didn't answer at first. He simply paused at the doorway. 3 days ago. The same day he took the test. The same day he realized what the truth would be. The same day he stopped looking at me like a wife and started looking at me like a crime scene. I reached for him instinctively. "Daniel, I still love you." He stepped back as if my touch were poison. "No," he said softly. "You love the version of me that trusted you. That man is gone." A single tear slipped down my cheek. He watched it with detached curiosity. "Don't cry," he whispered. It's too late for that. Then he delivered the final blow, the one that would haunt me forever. You should know something. I didn't need the DNA test. Not really. My breath caught. His voice dropped to a whisper, the lethal kind. I already knew the truth the night you said that joke. Then why the test? I choked out. Because I wanted you to see the truth in writing. I wanted you to witness the moment the lie died. He opened the door, and I wanted to watch you realize I figured you out long before you admitted anything. The door closed, quiet, final, and everything in my chest shattered. It's been 4 weeks. 4 weeks living with the silence he left behind. 4 weeks raising a child who looks like the ghost of a mistake. 4 weeks replaying every second of that night. The joke, his stillness, the phone call. My life is quieter now, colder, sharper. The baby sleeps beside me. He's innocent in all this. A reminder of my weakness, yes, but also a reminder of truth. Truth I can't run from anymore. Daniel hasn't called, hasn't messaged, hasn't asked for anything. And that's the part that hurts the most. Not the anger, not the betrayal, not even the divorce. It's the emptiness, the total absence. He didn't leave to punish me. He left because I wasn't worth staying for. And now, every night, when the house is silent and the baby breathes softly in his crib, I replay the final thing he said to me, the words that ended everything. Trust doesn't break when someone lies. It breaks when someone laughs about it. I used to think silence meant peace. Now I know silence is a verdict, and mine has already been delivered.
How could you do this?